legacy is usually determined to be real estate or money.
Well, I think legacy is it's a broad definition, I would think.
Not really.
No?
Like your legacy?
Yeah.
Your legacy is usually the money and real estate you leave behind. That's your legacy.
This is the Mostly Middle Tennessee Business Podcast, a podcast about Middle Tennessee business owners and professionals. Mostly.
So, man, I'm going to say we've got a real treat for you today, as someone else might say. How do you like Nashville here so far, Mr. Brad Lea, going back and forth from Vegas to Nashville?
I love Nashville.
And thanks for being on again.
And my pleasure.
So, we just came from Nashville or Vegas a couple of weeks ago for a trade show. And you put up a video yesterday talking about like you were driving through this nice lush, probably rain-soaked road with the trees and stuff like that. And he said, there's just something about this place. This is what I believe you said.
That's right.
What does that mean to you?
Well, I mean, it's just Tennessee, brother.
Yeah. It's cool out here.
Yeah. You don't see it in Nevada, that's for damn sure.
What you do see in Nevada, and what I always loved about living out there, is the fact that you can go 15 minutes in any direction and be in utter solitude out in the desert. That's what I loved about it. Like even driving in from Kingman to the dam, I was telling my wife, I said my BPM was down to like 54. That's how relaxed I was. It's like something out there must resonate with my soul. Are you finding that to be the case here? And you're kind of living bi-coastally these days, right?
Correct. No, I just find the landscape and the people to be wonderful.
The people out here definitely are, you got that southern charm and stuff like that. We found that to be the case when we moved to Vegas, but we were moving from Connecticut though. And that was like, a lot of Northeast kind of attitudes and stuff like that. You've been in Vegas a long time, the 90s, I want to say.
Since 91.
Yeah. So, I mean, you must have seen the attitude in that town change over time as well.
Well, I mean, it's always been a little bit transient.
Yeah.
But I still like Vegas. I'm still in Vegas. I'm in Vegas most of the time.
Yeah.
And I still like it. But when it comes to the landscape, Tennessee beats it to hell.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not
kind of over the brown jagged edges and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm not a big desert guy.
You don't really go hiking out there?
No, I don't go hiking out there.
So, I mean, what's the plan? I mean, you guys, you're kind of planting roots out here. Is there anything you want to elaborate on in terms of plans that you have?
Well, my wife loves it out here, so we're kind of steadily getting over this way more and more. Have an office getting created. Hopefully, they were trying to double dip me on the terms.
Oh.
But once they realized I was willing to walk away, they were more than willing to start negotiating, let's just say. So it's back on the table. I want to open a miniature version of what I have in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So about 9,000 square feet, podcast studio, green screen studio, so I can continue to make content and then create other studios to where if people want to do a podcast, they can have a place to do them.
Are you adverse to like at least having a place like this one to do your podcast or other places here?
What do you mean?
Like if you want to do a couple of episodes of your own podcast, but it's not as ornate as I've been to your studio out in Vegas. It's gorgeous. It's like a television studio.
Well, that's what I just said. Yeah. I'm opening.
Well, you're opening that here, but in the meantime, between now and then, if you need,
it would only be 2 or 3 months.
If you ever need a place, you got a place here.
I appreciate it.
Yes.
But again, I think, I like to be at home.
Yeah. Well, you got 2 homes here. You still renting that place, right?
The house I'm in now is still leased. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Looking.
Your wife is
looking to buy.
She's in love with this area.
Yes.
Yeah. She's a sweetheart, by the way. How long have you been married there?
Including today?
Yeah.
15 years.
Cool, man. That's awesome.
What buttons you keep pushing, man?
I'm switching between cameras.
I was going to say, man, you sure make it look difficult. I'm glad I don't have to mess with that.
I like to be in the mix of a lot of different plates spinning. I've tried to reduce down to one occasionally, and it never really work out. You're on that camera.
You got to get your lights going to where people can.
Yeah, we're working on that. We're building a studio ourselves. That's going to be a little bit bigger than this room. We're going to be owning the actual space if we don't sell it before then, but we're renting this place. We do the best we can out of it, which kind of like leads up with small businesses. You kind of, you're coming here. You've come here a few times to be on the podcast, and we're still in the same house. We're a small business that's just working and tiring along and stuff like that. Do you remember those? I mean, of course you do, but do you look back on those days when you were building Lightspeed, and do you have like nostalgia for those days? Because I certainly hope I do.
No, matter of fact, I have nightmares.
Really?
Still. And by the way, I mean, I start new businesses all the time.
Yeah.
So I have like,
starting the anchor business, is always the toughest thing, I would think. Because I'm still in the mix, you know what I mean? You and I have known each other going on now, 6 years? And, I'm relatively, I can only imagine what he thinks, because I'm still doing, we're still trying, and especially in the last 3 years has been, the economy tightened up a little bit, a lot of car washes are what we typically serve with the majority of what we do. I mean, we do a ton of stuff out of this building, but that's the one that pays the most bills. And because of how the economy contracted slightly in the last couple of years, it's been tough. And I'm very transparent about it. You know what I mean?
Well, to me, it seems like it's been about 6 months since I met you.
Cool. I don't know if that's
and I don't judge people. And quite frankly, in my opinion, it takes 20 years to become an overnight success. So to me, it's like, this place seems bigger than before. So,
well, before we had the couches in here. Yeah. We actually, when you met John, he's like, dude, I'd love to be on more podcasts, but can you get rid of the couches? I look frumpy as crap. And I'm like, yeah, I've been thinking about it. So we had this table built. And
have you ever thought about owning the car wash?
We thought about it, but I guess we know too much about it. It's not a turnkey cash cow as one might think, Well,
the little car washes I know are.
Yeah. You can make it so. You can get the self-serves and IBAs that are automated, but like an express tunnel or something like that where you got to have staff on hand and all that stuff. It's the guys that go into that think that they can just turnkey it, and they end up spending a lot more time at the car wash than they realize. So
I'm talking about the awnings with the sprayers and the machines, and you pull in there and do it yourself. And it's just
self-serve.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I would imagine those are just, you need somebody there just to kind of make sure nobody's stealing anything or breaking it.
All the guys I know that own car washes do well, and they're looking for more.
Yeah. Well, it is a growth industry.
It's also
building
a real
them
estate
everywhere.
play.
It is. It's about a 3 to, I want to say anywhere from a $2 to $5 million initial investment to get one going ground up.
Nonsense. I start things with, $2 or $3.
I'm just telling you what I hear. And we've thought about it before, but we don't have that kind of horsepower yet. So we're just we're chopping at that one tree until, we get going with it somewhere. We're juggling a lot.
Well, again, a lot of people, they hear about, you got to diversify. Well, I would say focus until you get big enough to diversify. Most of the people that I know that have multiple streams of income, they started with one.
Yeah. Which is what you did.
Yes.
Way back in the, because you were tell the story about, you went back to be a manager at a car dealership while you were funding Lightspeed as it was coming up.
Yeah. Had to pay bills, had to feed people. And the business itself wouldn't sustain everyone. So I had to go make supplemental income. So I took a job and funded it.
Who was that dealership with? It was
that one was Honda West, Sonic Automotive.
Sonic Automotive. We have that in common. We worked for Sonic once upon a time. That's one of the things we're kind of going through right now. It's like, I'm very, like I said, transparent about it. John's doing what he has to do to feed his family. The business is sustaining itself, but we just decided to forego paying ourselves a majority of our paychecks for the past about year or so. And it's like, oh, this is the kind of stuff that they're talking about. Because we really had a good luck run for a minute there where that was the part of our business that had commas in all the deals. And We had a little bit of trouble getting out of the last situation we were in, and that's about all I'll say about that. But he and I kind of getting into partnership in this business was gangbusters out of the gate, doing numbers that a new business shouldn't be doing. But we had momentum from the previous situation. And eventually we're just, sometimes just things run their course, and we had to pivot. We're in the garage door business now. I brought my podcast offerings to the table, and that's kind of what we're doing. So a lot of different things plates that we're spinning. You know what I mean?
It's what it requires 9 times out of 10.
It builds grit, and I think it needs to be talked about more. Because I'm happy to say that I call you a friend, and you haven't made Baller Busters. Have you been following that? No.
Damn.
I like that though.
I need to.
No, you don't. I'd rather you not.
Well, listen. Baller Busters.
Yeah.
Is not end all be all fact.
Right.
Okay. It said Patrick Bet-David was one.
Right.
It's just
that threw me for a curve. I was like, him? Really?
Dude, stretch. Baller Busters. When I first heard of it, I'm like, cool. I like that idea. Expose the scammers. But everyone's a scammer in the world if you're selling a course to them.
Right.
Everyone's a scammer if you have a bunch of followers and you drive a nice car and you do all these things. When they first started, I like the concept. I think the concept is great. Let's expose the scammers. Mm-hmm. But when they start talking about people that I know for a fact are not scammers, like Patrick Bet-David,
yeah,
I lost credibility.
And has the scammer definition evolved as well? It's kind of like calling somebody a narcissist, but that's not the original root meaning of the word.
Yeah, well, there's obviously a lot of people who, are scammers, and they may have busted some, I don't know, but when they say baller buster, well, what's a baller?
Right. That's true.
I'm not sure what a baller buster is. All I do know is when they say Patrick Bet-David's a scam, I know Patrick, and he's not a scam. And that just means, listen, if you're going to call people scams that aren't scams, then it's cool. Go ahead. But I don't think that you've made it because you're off Baller Busters. There's a lot of scammers they have no clue about that are truly scammers, and they're not even talking about them. They're talking about people who are prevalent online, and they don't necessarily like their style. Like my boy Andy Elliott. Mm-hmm. They talk about his past. They talk about this. How come they're not interviewing and showing clips of all the people that he's helped?
Right.
Patrick Bet-David's made a lot of freaking people wealthy. He's changed a lot of lives. Why don't they talk about those? Why are they always just focusing on the negative and then technically their opinions? Now, again, I've never studied their channel. Maybe they did stop people from being scammed by people, but anyway. I haven't made Baller Busters, but you give it time, brother. Give it time. I'm not big enough yet. As soon as you get big enough.
You're pretty big.
Well, again, I mean, has Grant Cardone made Baller Busters?
Yes.
I don't think he's a scam. Do you?
I don't really know him all that. You know him better than I do.
He's not a scam. Who else has made
I'm
Baller
invested
Busters?
with him, so nothing, it's all been
Have
pretty
you gotten
upfront.
your checks every month?
Yeah.
So have I.
Yep.
Does he actually, buy apartment homes? Is everything that he said he's doing, he actually is doing?
Right.
Then what's a scam about him? They don't like his marketing tactics. They don't like his personality. They don't like the fact that he has more followers than they do. And I think in the beginning, the concept was pure, and then it became
evolved,
or just general hate, meaning who can get us views? Okay, let's talk about him.
Right.
But anyway, I didn't know you were a fan of the page. I'll try to do what I can do to get on there.
Well, yeah.
If you ever see me on there, just text me.
I'll text you, be like, hey, dude, you made it.
Yes.
Yes.
And if I'm ever on there,
you consider it a badge of honor.
Well, that just means that you're getting attention.
Right.
Because if they know who you are, well, then obviously you've gotten some attention.
the thing, and then I could see the scam side of it, but there's a lot of people talking about stuff out there they don't need to be talking about because they just don't know what they're talking about.
Like what?
The fake it till you make it. Certain, people that are talking about, hey, here's how to go viral in a video. And it's like they themselves have never done it, or maybe they had a one-off. They're not consistently having those big numbers, or how to grow your audience. And then you look at it, the comments are full of bots and you know that they bought their audience. Just stuff like that.
Yeah, but listen, I get bots in my comments. I've never purchased one follower. So
I know you do.
Those bots are sent by people that believe you have followers, meaning they want those comments read and hooked people into them. So bot comments, real bot comments aren't really purchased or put there. You're talking about the ones where they have fake comments.
Right.
Like, oh, beautiful. Mm-hmm. When it has nothing to do with their post,
like 3 flames,
Yeah, but that's when they buy. That's when they buy comments. Those aren't bot comments. Those are bot
comments.
Yeah, bot. Yeah. Not bot. BOT.
That's what I mean.
Oh, you mean purchased?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you could see it a mile away.
Well, of course you can, especially when it has nothing to do with the post.
Right.
Like, man, folks, pay attention. Like if there's a Stairmaster and it says gorgeous, heart emojis. Like obviously, guys, they paid to have those comments.
But I don't think you're going to get there because your stuff really is real. I mean, you're saying what's on your mind. You're almost like the guy we just had on another podcast. His name is Jason Whitlock. You ever hear of him? Real. That's right. It says it right on your shirt.
Brother, I would be foolish to not be real with the name Real.
Well, you got to be.
And the brand Real.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't realize this is actually an acronym.
Really?
Yes.
Dare I say?
Yes, it is.
What is the acronym?
The acronym is R's for relationships, because literally relationships are the most important thing. And most people don't figure that out until the end of their life. And on their deathbed, who do you think they're calling for? Relationships. They're not looking at their bank accounts. They're not saying, let me take one more look at my watch collection or my trophy case. They're calling for people, relationships. And then when we're born, if we don't have any relationships, we die. Mm-hmm. So in the beginning of life, they're required. And then at the end of life, they're desired.
Right.
So why do we forget how important they are in between? And a lot of people do. And then there's also people, man, I just want to get paid, brother. I ain't about all that relationship stuff. I got enough friends. Well, again, I would challenge you to look at every dollar you've ever received. And I'll bet you'll realize it came from some sort of relationship. So even if money's your thing, relationships, that's where money comes from. Yeah. Resources, that's where money comes, or that's what comes from relationships. Your abilities are based on your resources, right? Mm-hmm. So again, relationships. So the R is for relationships. E is for energy, because a lot of people don't realize that we're operating in a frequency. We're vibrating with an energy, and everything is on the planet. The universe is an ocean of motion, if you will. And so
I agree.
Because we're in a frequency, we're a vibrational frequency, that's our energy.
Yeah. I'm listening. I'm just getting my phone to get a little bit of other content.
Well, E is energy.
Yep.
And I think with the right energy, life gets amazing. And again, I mean, there's heavenly energy and then there's earthly energy. The heavenly energy is what you might think. Like if I said describe the kind of energy that you would imagine being in heaven, what's some of the energies that you would describe?
It's going to be, light energy. It's going to be, I would imagine it's going to be probably sunny and 75. It's going to be a loving type of energy.
How about loving, courageous, generous, kind,
Yep.
Good energy. Mm-hmm. And then earthly energy. Well, that's where you got your anger and your greed and your envy and your depression and your anxiety and your worldly fear.
Yeah.
Right? You can call it worldly, but I only live on this one, so I call it earthly.
Yeah.
Okay? I've never been on Mars. I don't know what the energy's like there. But here, I know what it's like. It's depression and anger and fear and worry and doubt and greed. heavenly, well, you got love and kindness and generosity and, so energy is important.
Yeah.
So to be real, man, you have to understand that it's all about energy. That's your confidence. That's your mindset. That's your energy. And then A is for affluence.
Mm-hmm.
Your affluence is your abundance. It's your financial and legacy, like everything that has to do with, affluence. Mm-hmm. Look up the word, you'll see, man, I want that. Mm-hmm. And then L is for leadership, because I don't think you're ever going to get anywhere by yourself.
Right.
So you have to understand leadership is very important. And quite frankly, most people never learn the first rule of leadership. And the first rule of leadership is lead yourself. So self-worth, that could be mindset, energy, that could be all kinds of things, but it boils down to leadership. You have to build a team, and you have to have the ability to lead, and you should. And a lot of people, they don't understand how important leadership is. So if you want to make it real, you want to make real money, build a real business, build real wealth, build real legacy, have a real relationship, you're going to need relationships, energy, affluence, and leadership. So that's why it's there.
I like that. I never realized that.
Yes, sir.
Have you talked about it before on the show?
I've never, maybe, I don't think so.
It's these things, it's these exclusives that we get out of you sometimes.
Yes, well.
That's what I'm good at.
You live and you learn and you constantly develop. I think it used to be relationships, energy, affluence, and lifestyle. Why? Because I know a lot of rich people, dude. And
it could be legacy,
and they're
too.
bored.
That's what I say about podcasting. Podcasting is ultimately a legacy play. It's leaving behind. Imagine being able to go back and listen to your great-grandfather. And that's why I bring up my kids a lot in this podcast. I'm as real as I can, because what we're going through right now, it's like my father went through 30 some odd years ago. And I'm like, I'd give anything to talk to him. Be like, dude, what was going through your mind? I was 15 years old.
Legacy is usually determined to be real estate or money.
Well, I think legacy is probably it's a broad definition, I would think.
Not really.
No.
Like your legacy?
Yeah.
Your legacy is usually the money and real estate you leave behind. That's your legacy.
That feeds the next generations.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Pull up your little Google.
My Google-nator?
Yeah.
The definition of legacy?
Define legacy. Do it on audio so everyone can hear what you find.
Hey, Siri, define legacy. Hopefully it won't come through my other thing. Let me turn this off. Sometimes we do these things live.
I wonder what it says. It'll probably say something all deep like you're referring to. Define legacy.
Yeah, you do it.
As a noun, legacy means an amount of money or property left to someone in a will. Do you want to hear the next one?
Sure.
As a noun, it means an applicant to a particular college or university who is regarded preferentially because a parent or other relative attended the same institution.
No, thank you. It basically says legacy, an amount of money or property left to someone in a will. My grandmother died and unexpectedly left me a small legacy.
See, that's like when you hear like Bill Clinton talking about he wanted his legacy to be something, and it's usually like a presidential library, something like that. Obviously, what he's remembered for, I guess maybe that's what I'm trying to say.
Most people use the word to mean what you were referring to.
What you're remembered for, or good, the energy you put into the world.
Yeah. What do you want your legacy to be?
I knew you were going to ask me that. Oh, man, that's a good question. That's troubling that I don't know. Like people ask me, well, what do you want to do when you're into your 50s? And I know what I'd want to do. And it's
What do you mean? How old are you?
You think I'm not in my 50s yet?
How old are you?
I'm 49. How old do you think I was?
Into your 50s.
Well, I guess I'm getting there.
You're only 49?
I'm on level 49. It's like a video game.
Dude, you got more gray hair than I do.
I know.
I'm 56.
I
thought we were both about the same age.
Well,
you're a youngster.
I am. I have a lot. Now you got to look at it that way.
I wish I was 49. I was going to be 49 forever, but I decided, who cares? Right. Because at the end of the day, man, don't you wish that someday you're 99? Because a lot of people, they make fun of these people that are old, oh, look at that, man, he's old. A lot of youngsters on the internet will tell me, hey, okay, grandpa.
Yeah.
And it's like they hate on age when in reality, they're praying to make it that old.
Right.
So I've already made 56. You, my friend, have no guarantees.
None of us do.
And I hope I'm 75, and then I hope I'm 95. So at the end of the day, man, don't hate on the old people.
I'm not hating on you. I don't think you're old.
When you get into the 50s,
yeah.
Now you're starting to literally season and roll out freaking real experience.
And that's the thing.
You're 1 year away.
Yeah. And it's, I feel like I've already kind of been doing that, but I don't know until I get into my 50s.
It doesn't change. I feel the same as I do now. I feel the same as I did when I was 35, honestly. I think I know a little bit more, but I act the same.
Right.
I feel the same.
I think that those laps around the block of life certainly help. I think they further refine and define who we are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You handle things a lot different. You have different conversations. You have your moxie is different, in terms of how you carry yourself. My sales conversations look entirely different now than when they did 10, 15 years ago.
Well, good, they should.
Yeah. But they're more casual and relational in that sense.
They probably work better too.
Yeah. Because you're just basically, I'll never forget one of my general managers at the Mercedes dealer. People were kerfluffled in terms of how to reach out to a customer when you had nothing, to really truly update them with, something of substance. Hey, I've got something for you. And he says, sometimes all they need to hear is sup. What's happening? How have you been? How's the family? Just checking on you. You popped into my head. I do that a lot. I think I've done that with you. I've texted you. Hey, you popped into my head. You okay? That happens to me all the time. And I act on it. You and I have more of a texting relationship. I'm not going to, if you want me to call you, I'll call you. But I'm like, hey, you're good? Hopefully, I don't know if you remember getting those, but
I'm dandy. You're wasting a text. You can always be certain that I am doing well.
With the story telling us, previous to recording on this podcast, in a 38,000 foot altitude, I'm pretty sure you weren't dandy. You're probably freaking out.
I was wonderful.
Have you told that story before?
I have extreme gratitude for everything.
Yeah. Because you've seen a lot. Would you say you're an old soul?
I believe we all are, but yes, I am particularly old, soul-wise. But I can also say that, listen, I understand frequency and vibration and energy. Let's say quantum physics.
Mm-hmm.
If you look into quantum physics, you'll start to realize, like, man, everything is vibrating. Everything has a frequency, and frequencies attract and repel other frequencies. So again, like, what you emit is 9 times out of 10 what you get. So if you want good things, give good things. So at the end of the day, I understand energy. But what I also understand that most people fail to realize is that we have what's called free will.
Yes.
In layman terms, what would you consider, how would you describe free will?
Free will
Layman
is
terms. Keep it simple.
Is basically making the decisions that lead you to the next fork in the road to make a decision.
No, it isn't. Free will.
In the spiritual sense?
Any sense.
Yeah, it's just, I thought, to me, it's decision making.
Well, you're close.
Yeah.
But free will, it means
The ability to make those
Thank
decisions.
you. The ability to choose. That's free will.
If you chose not to decide, you still have made a choice. Thank you,
But
Rush.
you have free will. Okay.
Right.
Free will is our gift. That's our power. That's the power everyone needs to tap into, but nobody seems to realize because they think it's going to be some damn Marvel comic power. It's going to be some superhero power. It's like everyone misses it because the power is free will. And it's like, that's not sexy, but in reality it is, because you have the ability to choose. So literally when you get upset, you're choosing to get upset. When you choose to be anxious and depressed, and I think you're choosing it at the end of the day. Because if I just busted into a room and everyone got real angry with me, and then I left and you all sat around talking about, man, that guy came in here and he thought he was this and he did that and he said this and how dare him? And people say, well, what happened? They'd say, oh, Brad came in here and pissed everybody off and got everybody angry. My question to those people that would sit there and be like, really, what'd he do? What'd he say? They don't question, how did he get you angry? Well, he did this. Didn't you have to choose to be angry? Don't you have to choose to be angry? How can he just make you angry? You mean I have power over you? That's weird to me, because you don't have power over me. If you offend me and I literally walk out of here pissed off, the truth is I can blame you for sure. I can get everyone to agree that it was you and get buy-in.
Yeah.
But the truth would be I chose to react the way I reacted. I chose to feel like I felt, and I chose to storm out mad. It wasn't you that made me mad. I chose to be. Period. So when people say, you know, what's this power that I need to tap into? Understand the power is the gift that you were given, and it's called free will. You can choose to be happy, or you can choose to be pissed.
Right.
You can choose to be rich, and you can choose to be poor. You can choose everything. And I understand that. So it's like, that's why I said you're wasting a text. You'll never get me saying I'm not doing well if I'm alive. And if I'm not alive, you wouldn't be talking to me. So trust me when I tell you, when I'm alive, I'm doing well.
Yeah.
Because I choose to. I choose to react.
And to have that gratitude that goes along with it.
I wake up with extreme gratitude. That gives me an advantage over most people. Because most people, they wake up, they reach for their phone, and they choose to get upset, and they choose to be worried, and they choose to be fearful, and they're walking around life reacting instead of causing. Okay, I like to cause, not react.
With the people that react, does it matter their age or experience, whether they're parents,
of course,
with
it
kids?
does.
Because I found that to be in my life, that a lot of the things that, like, we went through a tumultuous experience a couple of years ago.
Thankfully.
Yeah, exactly.
We pray for strength and then curse the tumultuous stuff that strengthens us.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense.
I don't know if I prayed for strength in this situation, but it kind of fell into my lap, and it wasn't of anything of my doing, but it was one of those things that I would have collapsed 10 years earlier if I had to deal with any of it.
Well, again, age does teach us things.
It really does. And it's like, somebody in Greg Miles, I'll give him credit as always. The impetus of the previous version of this podcast was, what's your problem? And it was based on the notion of it's always something. And I had one of those.
That's why you constantly had them.
Right. But the thing is, that's what life is. There's always going to be something. It depends on how you react to it and how you look at it.
See, I don't have problems.
Not problem, but it's always little varying magnitudes of just one thing. Like this year for us has just been an onslaught. I joke with my wife. I said, it's like 2025 is front loading all the crap. You
should be thankful for that.
I kind of, she's like, okay, I get the whole, it's always something, but can we let off a little bit for a minute?
Yeah, but it's not always something, Jim.
Yeah. It's not.
Those are blessings. Those are opportunities. You're choosing to see them as problems, and that's why they are. So stop looking at them.
I can see that.
Stop looking at them like problems.
I do say, okay, I kind of have a much different disposition towards them, where I just kind of chuckle to myself.
See, you're choosing.
Because it is good. It's just, here we go again.
And not only that, at the end of the day, we get to choose.
Yeah.
Why would you choose to be upset and fearful and anxious and worried and depressed if you have a choice?
Yeah.
Well, people don't realize they have one. And I'm here to tell you, you do.
Yeah.
You've got a choice. Use it. That's the power. The power of free will is the gift that we were given to choose him or not choose him, to choose love or to choose envy. You can choose everything. You get to choose. And most people can't figure out how to get a hold of it. And it's not elusive. It's an awareness, I think. Like, I'm aware that I get to choose. Who gets to choose for you?
No.
What do you mean? That was a question.
Well, you're asking me.
Yeah. Who gets
I
to
get to choose
for
for
you?
me, and
Do you know this to be true?
Well, I mean, there's certain things outside your control that
Like
happen
what?
to you.
I didn't say you
and how
get
you
to
react to
control
them.
everything.
Yeah.
I said you get to choose everything. You
Yeah.
get to choose.
Yeah.
It's free will. So again, you could get up and punch me in the face. I could choose how to respond.
Right.
I don't get to control you choosing to punch me in the face.
Right.
But I do get to choose my response. I get to choose my mood. I get to choose everything. So if I get to choose, that's the gift. And I learn that I have the gift, life gets better. Now, again, it's not going to solve all your problems just because you're now aware you can choose. But I literally catch myself getting pissed. And then I think, do I want to be pissed?
Were you somebody who was always like quick to anger when you were
Quick
younger?
to anger, quick to judge,
Were
quick
you?
to react, because I was reactionary instead of causation. Like, I want to cause things. And just that alone is why I'm a force, because like, I cause things to happen. I don't react to things that happen. I cause them to happen. And when things happen to me, right, I get to choose how I react to those things, which will cause other things. Do you believe in cause or every action has a result, or
Equal and opposite
for every
reaction?
action has a reaction?
Yes.
Okay, so whatever happens to you, there's going to be a reaction, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that reaction is going to cause something?
Yes.
And who chooses your reaction?
Oh, ultimately I do.
So you get to choose, you get to be a causation. It gets deep with people. Then people are like, oh, come
It
on.
does,
And that's
but-
the part where some
Yeah.
people, like, they float away back in their little miserable depression and limitations. I don't. I refuse. Why? Because I understand. I've got the power to choose. I've got the power. I've got the power. And see, most people don't know that. And they will not make that statement. And they don't believe it if they did. They're just sitting there doing affirmations, hoping someday they wake up powerful.
No.
I am powerful. You are powerful. He is powerful. But most people, they don't realize that they're powerful. And that's the problem. And that's why I try to wake people up.
Some people are just leaders and followers, though. Naturally born.
Well, that's why you got to get real.
Yeah.
I'm going to
say
program. I'm going to put a program together.
Yeah.
Get on Baller Busters. Okay. I'm going to put a program together where I teach people how to get real.
It's not a bad. I mean, are you speaking on it at least? Bringing
Yeah,
up those
man.
tenets?
Listen, I've been speaking for years. You can look me up. Okay. You can find, I see videos of me sometimes. I'm like, damn, dude, how old was I there? And I'm saying it maybe differently, but I'm still saying it this many years later.
It's still the same message, essentially.
It's more refined and probably a little more credible now, but it's the same message.
Was 10X the first time you really spoke in front of a crowd?
Pretty much.
Yeah. I heard about you through Grant
And also,
back in the day.
I started 10X with Grant. Like, I caused him to do it.
What's the next iteration of that? Is he going to evolve it to something different?
What?
Because apparently this was the last one. This is the last one that he had.
Oh, dude, that's just to sell more tickets. I think if all he has to do is change the name, now it's going to be called instead of 10X,
11X.
instead of 10X growth, it'll be 10X wealth.
Yeah.
Instead of growth, it goes to wealth. Why? Because he's tired of the low paying people. Now he wants the high paying people, so he's going to teach wealth.
And he's got the clout to do it.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
Again, he's not a scam. That's the thing. Like, he's on Baller Busters. Andy Elliott's on Baller Busters. All these people are on Baller Busters. And it's like, wait a minute. again, I'm not saying that they're angels, and I'm not saying that that they've never said no to a refund. But I mean, scams, like to me, a scam is something that is not true.
Right.
You take my money hoping to get something, and you're not going to get it because I scammed you. Right?
It's blatantly lying.
It's a scam.
Yeah.
And again, it's like when you say, I'm going to expose the scammers, good. I hope a channel comes up and exposes true scammers. But you better do your homework, because again, you're calling Patrick Bet David a scam, Grant Cardone a scam. How are they scams? Well, they claim that people are going to 10x their revenue. People are not stupid. They don't really believe when they pay Grant that they're going to 10x their revenue. Okay, 10x is a lifestyle. It's a concept. Just like real. If I ever start real success, that doesn't mean that, man, you buy a ticket to my thing and you're going to find real success. It's called marketing, but still there are scammers out there. But again, I've been what you would call scammed before, but I don't think it was a scam. So I can tell you confidently, I've never been scammed. And I can also tell you that, like, if I were ever to say, man, that was a scam, me believing it was a scam is the problem. Because don't you learn?
True.
Okay, so if it taught
that is
you,
another choice.
If it taught you something, then how was that a scam?
Right.
Well, scam by the definition, he promised something, I didn't get it. Yeah, I can agree. That's a scam. But in reality, is it a scam if you believe it wasn't? No. And there's a lot of people who Andy Elliott and Grant Cardone and myself, and I'm sure you and other people have helped. Patrick Bet David. So again, all the people on Baller Busters, I haven't looked at them all, but I've seen a few of those guys on there.
Do you think with Andy Elliott, they're just upset at the gimmickry that he kind of presents? Because I mean, a lot of what he's got this.
Then why don't they call it just clown?
Well, they kind of do. They, chief clown officers is in the description.
Yeah, but I mean, again, you want to make fun of people? Cool. Call it make fun of people, but they've got everybody believing these people are scamming them. And it's like, I know a lot of people that have told me Andy Elliott changed their life. I know people that say Patrick Bet David changed their life. I know people that have literally helped a lot of people that have been on that channel where, like, dude, come on, vet people better than this.
You have,
it's not just that they're embarrassing. They wear too tight of clothes. You don't like their message. You don't like their look. You don't like their style. Then just call it that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like Richard Simmons.
Mm-hmm.
You ever see me make fun of him on my channels?
It's not exactly a topical dude to make fun of.
What are you talking about? Richard Simmons?
He passed away
What
recently.
a scammer. He would tell you were going to get in shape. He'd have a
Don Lepre.
Yeah, Don Lepre.
Remember him back in the 80s?
Was
90s?
he the guy that said, you put tiny ads across the entire
I was in
United
a
States?
one-bedroom apartment placing tiny little classified ads in classified. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah. But hey, listen, I hope people, use discernment.
Mm-hmm.
And all you have to do to see if you're getting scammed is find out if they did what you're trying to do. And if they did, and they're willing to teach you, how's it a scam?
Well, again, it's to your point of it being a learning experience one way or another.
One way or the other, brother. But that's perspective. That's what I'm talking about.
I got scammed out of money earlier last year.
How much?
It was about $2,000. And it was something that I should have known better.
What'd you think you were going to get?
I was supposed to get a car.
And what did you get?
Nothing.
How are you believed that you were going to get a car for $2,000?
It was a little bit more than that. They wanted a down payment, in order to, and it's like,
yeah, that's a scam.
Just known that. Yeah.
I almost got scammed.
Yeah.
In that sense.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking for a muscle car. Was it here? I think it was here. Did I call you? I called someone to go look at the place. You remember? And dude, they only wanted 20% down. Mm-hmm. And this deal was such a good deal. I said, man, I got to Google search these guys. Their internet, their website came up, their testimonials came up. Everything seemed
You're
legit.
telling the story a couple of episodes ago.
Yeah, well, I mean,
car guy.
it looked good. These guys were good. And I almost gave them 20% deposit. And I thought to myself, let me Google map it. Like, let me look at their lot and see their cars. And they gave me their address, and I Google mapped it. And it was like an old, like, industrial area with train tracks. And, like, there was nothing there.
Yeah.
And so I said, do you have all the cars on your property? He said, absolutely. I said, okay, well, I'm going to send someone down to take a look at it. He said, well, I can meet them somewhere. And I said, no, they'll come down. They'll come down.
They'll come to you.
Yeah. And then I fortunately didn't fall for it, but that would have been a scam, legitimate scam. But I would have learned, don't do that. And I would have found value in it. That's my point.
Just so you don't think I'm as dumb as I look. There was an element of that particular experience that I went through where was, well, hey, if I put the money down, it's on a credit card, I can probably get it back because it'll be fraudulent, in nature. Turns out it because of the nature of how it was transacted, the credit card company didn't stand by their word.
Use American Express is all I can say.
Therefore, I do not use that credit card company ever again.
Yeah.
And anybody who asks, I will tell them.
American Express stands behind you.
Yeah. This one did not. And I was kind of pissed about that.
I just want a black card. If American Express is listening, I'd like a black card, please.
You don't have a black card yet?
No.
Because you talk about, you're on your way to, you want to be a billionaire.
Yes.
And the funny thing is that you mentioned on several episodes of your podcast that you wanted to fund a movie that you could act in. And have you done any acting since I first met you? Act every day. What's the character you play?
Brad Lea.
Brad Lea.
Superstar.
That's who you are, though.
That's why it's easy to do.
Yeah.
The world is merely a stage, Jim.
Hey, what kind of music did you listen to growing up?
I listened to, Def Leppard, Motley Crue, 38 Special, Led Zeppelin, Aerosmith, Eminem, Snoop Dogg.
90s there.
Boston.
You're a classic rock guy.
Classic rock mixed with some rap.
Yeah.
I didn't listen to country.
Were you Huey Lewis in the News?
Huey Lewis in the News. Sure.
Are you here the 28th of May?
Negative.
Man, I wish you were.
Why, is Huey coming?
No. But the Heart of Rock and Roll, the Huey Lewis in the News tribute is going to be at the City Winery in Nashville. And yours truly would be playing the drums.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I tried they call it ecstasy for the first time or the only
in the
time.
90s?
No.
Recently?
It wasn't recent. It was probably, it may have been the 90s. I think it was the 90s, actually.
It was big back then.
Yeah.
Late 90s.
It was the 90s now that I think about it, because I had just moved to Vegas and Huey Lewis in the News was playing. And we got tickets, and I'm like, yeah, Huey Lewis in the News. And I show up, and somebody gave me like this little, what looked like a rat turd. I didn't even know what it was. They didn't tell me till afterwards.
It was a rat turd.
I was dumb enough to take it, but supposedly it was like, supposed to make it fun. So I took it. And man, it was Huey Lewis in the News. And it was a great concert. I remember standing there, and it felt like I was leaning backwards at a 45-degree angles. Like I was just like leaning at a 45-degree angle backwards the whole time. And everything was lovely, and everybody was nice, and it was awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah. Not that I endorse drugs, but
we dabble every now and then some points in our life.
Sure. Didn't everybody?
Yeah.
My wife didn't. Never touched a drug her entire life.
Every time I see her and meet her and talk, she is an absolute sweetheart.
It's just amazing, though, that somebody has gone through life and didn't fall for the pressure, the temptation. Like, she's never, ever done a drug in her whole life unless I slipped it to her. No, just joking.
Does she drink?
Yeah, she'll drink sometimes, but not to a point of intoxication. I mean, she has that. Yeah. She's definitely drank, but never a drug, she said.
That's great. It's recreational for me every now and then, but I don't feel the need. So it's like I've never really been much of an addictive personality in that sense, thankfully. But again, that's a decision that we make, you know?
I think again, I mean, when people want to judge me because I'm honest, that I have tried stuff, judge me then. Like, it doesn't bother me. Like, if you told me you used to be a meth head,
right?
Good for you. You're no longer a meth head. How'd you make it out? Like, tell me about that. But, you know, because I've talked on my podcast about, you know, smoking crack one time for 3 days straight. People are like, dude, why would you say that?
Yeah.
I'm like, because it's the truth, man. Well, people are I'm like, see, that's the problem. Most people are so worried about what everybody thinks about them that they go through life tiptoeing. And I don't think that that's the best option for me. Mm-hmm. For me, I'm going to go through life telling the truth, being kind, choosing heavenly energy, trying to provide value to people. And maybe my story is going to help someone else avoid the problems that I had. But at the end of the day, to lie and to worry about what everyone thinks about you, you still did it.
Yeah.
Okay, so all you're saying is let me hide what happened to me so you approve me. And I'm the kind of guy that says, listen, I approve me. I don't need your approval. I'm not looking for someone's validation. You know what I mean? And I think more people need to do that. They need to stop worrying about everyone's validation and start to validate themselves. And some people are like, yeah, but I haven't done anything. Then get up and do something. Yeah, but I'm this and I'm that. Then change it. See, you've got the power to choose. You've got free will. Just start reverse engineering whatever it is you want. Because I've had people say, you can't choose to be successful. Yes, you can. You can't choose to be rich. Yes, you can. You can choose whatever you want. That's the whole gift of free will. You choose whatever you want. You can choose it. Now, again, doesn't mean it just appears. It means you're choosing it. But once you choose and you commit and you do the work, it's only a matter of time. And whatever that thing you chose, I believe, is on the way.
Is that your goal, though, to be like a wealthy billionaire? Is that the ultimate goal?
I believe I'm already one. I'm just waiting to get paid.
Right. But I mean, what other purpose did you have? Did you wake up in the car business and say, this is what I want to do, and this is why? Like, what was the why behind it? To get more money, or to really, because in your LinkedIn, I can appreciate it because I could tell you, I believe you wrote it from the heart, was to, I believe you when you say I want to truly help people.
Well, that's what it's evolved into.
When other people say that, my gut feeling and that little inner voice that we all have based on wisdom or external forces of good or evil or whatever, kind of guides you and gives you that discernment. You know what I mean? That's what discernment is like, there's something off here. I don't really believe what you're saying. I've never had an issue with that with you.
Well, because I think you can sense my energy.
Right.
But see, that's the energy that I'm talking about. Like, I show up on sales calls with different energy. Yeah. You know, I try to teach salespeople, stop being a salesperson, start being a help person. What does that mean? Like, genuinely see if you can help them with the problems that they have with your services or solutions. Like, just try to help. If it doesn't help, move along. And that energy, where I'm just trying to help you, will close you more deals. But again, I mean, if somebody said to me, brother, you truly only want to help people? Yeah, I mean, I want to help people. But if someone said, Brad, I can arrange to where you're going to be so helpful to everybody all your life, but you are going to constantly be in pain and broke, and you will be like seriously miserable. Well, no. Okay. I'm not Yahshua. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm a human. I just realize that, number one, I like to help people. I also realize that the more I help, the more I get. So at the end of the day, there's a little bit of both in there. Mm-hmm. Like, how do I make more money? Help more people. Oh, what a bonus. Like, I like helping people. Hey, let me help people and I'll get more money. But if someone said, to be honest, Brad, is it just you want to help people? No, dude. I also want to be a billionaire. When someone says, well, what's your why? Mm-hmm. Because I like nice shit. I do. And it's expensive. This shit's expensive. I like traveling. I like giving people things. I like helping people. I like rescuing people.
Yeah.
I like being able to give somebody something that will help them. And dude, a lot of times it's money. Yeah. Like, what would you rather have if your house was getting foreclosed on? A check that can cover it or some advice from your grandpa? Huh?
Yeah, definitely a check would be.
Well, Jim, listen, I can give you the money, but I'm not going to.
What did you learn from this?
Yeah, I'm not going to, because that will be harming you. And I want to help you. So I'm going to not give you the life-saving funds that you need. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to give you a piece of advice.
Yeah.
Sometimes, dude, I don't need your damn advice. I need your money.
Yeah.
Okay. And then get me out of this situation financially. And then please, I'd love to hear how you're so freaking wonderful and rich and I'm not. But right now, I have to pay this or I'm going to jail. I have to pay that or I'm losing my house. I have to pay that or my kid's going to die. Like, that takes money. So I want to have money because I like nice shit and I like to help people.
Does your garage door sound like this? If it does, it's screaming for help. Call Incredible Doors, 931-348-DOOR. We're making garage doors in Murray and Williamson counties work better and sound better. We just make them incredible again. Go to IncredibleDoors.com or call 931-348-DOOR. Follow us on Facebook for specials on maintenance visits, keypads, and other items. 931-348-DOOR. IncredibleDoors.com.
My business, getting back to the whole free will conversation or even just responding to certain scenarios. You met John just now. He said something that was beautiful one day. He says, look, there is no crisis. I'm like, that's a great way to look at it. You know, because that's what I think of what you're talking about. What we're talking about are a lot of people responding to what they deem as crises, you know.
That's choosing. Yep.
It is. Car business was a big education for me in that, where I was told, look, you only have control of the 360-degree sphere around you, and that's it. And this gentleman that told me, hey, it's always something, just accept it. And that's a choice.
Can I augment?
Of course.
You do not always have control of the 360 degrees around you. Okay? Right now, you don't have control of this. You think you do. It's all an illusion.
Within like a 2-foot.
You don't have control of shit. I could get up and smash everything on your desk and you can't control shit. We only have control of one thing, full control. One thing, our mind. That's it. Nobody can control your mind. Everything else, there's some extent that you're not in control.
Some government projects in the past that might challenge you on that.
Trust me, if they have done that successfully, we'd all be mind controlled.
Yeah.
Okay. They cannot control our minds because we were given the gift of free will. That's the gift.
Do you think that there's something in our food supply though that is?
I think they're trying
fogging our minds.
100%. Yeah. I think they're trying to control our minds. They're trying to brainwash us and get control. But dude, they haven't been able to do it. Generally speaking, I'm sure there's people that have tried to hypnotize and get control of your mind, but your mind is the only thing that you truly have 100% control over. Everything else, dude, you really don't. Like, I can't control if you shoot me right now. I can't control my 360. This is 360. I can't even control my arms sometimes.
It's kind of troubling that you're going through these violent objections, like I'm going to do these things to you. Well, maybe I'll just come over and give you a hug.
I'm proving a point. See, I couldn't control that either.
I know.
I'd try to control it, though, because I don't do hugs.
You don't do hugs?
No.
Really?
Well, I mean, I prefer.
Are you with your kids? I hope you do.
Yes, kids and females.
Kids and females.
Yeah.
Not even the bro side hug where you kind of.
I'm just messing with you.
It's like you don't do the full on chest to chest, maybe a half.
Yeah,
chest.
no, I'm past the no hug stage. But listen, at the end of the day, honestly, for all the listeners, because this is supposed to be a mostly Middle Tennessee business podcast.
That's right.
So
I messed the name up too.
Yeah, but if these guys want to like build a bigger business, if they want to, have a better relationship with their wife, which by the way, will help you build a bigger business. So that's the whole thing. People don't have business issues. They have personal issues that they bring to work. So again, remember that you have a staff of people at your organization and you have business issues. You just have a location where all the personal issues are manifesting themselves.
Yeah.
Okay. Become a leader, study leadership, realize that a team is going to get you there. You're not going to do it by yourself. You're not going to build it by yourself. You're not going to be able to do it by yourself. So leadership, that's what's going to help businesses. Not only that, training. Again, people are like, well, hey, here comes the plug. Listen, dude, it's $300 a month. I could care less. You spend more than that on coffee. I'll bet you guys spend more than $300 on the shit you give away.
Yeah.
Don't you?
I have no idea how much we spend on water.
Again, you're just offering everybody water and Coke, and they offered me, Coke, water, what?
Yeah, maybe.
Costs money, bro.
Yeah.
Toilet paper in the bathroom? Okay, then you're spending money. And I'll bet you it's more than $300 a month for just regular old employee facilities.
Right.
So at the end of the day, $300 a month will buy you a training system that will deliver, track, and measure content. All you have to do is create it. So if a business right now wants to grow, do they need people?
Yes.
Of course they do. They need technology and people. So guess what? If every business right now, let's say 10 plus employees, because again, if it's you and your brother, you probably don't need it right this second, but real businesses that have real plans of growth and exit, hopefully, their business becomes more valuable the second you have a training system. And it can be a manual. It doesn't have to be Lightspeed software, but right. Lightspeed software is just a digital world-class training system that's easy to use. But my point is businesses need to train people. Train yourself on leadership, train your employees on customer satisfaction, sales, closing, persuasion, personal branding, marketing, everything. So you need a training system. That's what I would tell people of Middle Tennessee. Like, get yourself a training system, even if it's documented and in a binder. A company's value goes up by 1.5 to 4 times minimum if they've got a training system.
1.5 to 4 times, really?
1.5 to 4 times.
Yeah.
If you just simply create your SOPs, document all of your roles and positions, and get yourself a training book, a how-to book. Like, how do I run this company? What if you quit right now? Who knows what you know?
Right.
So at the end of the day, it takes a little bit of effort, but if a company just goes, bam, let's document everything. Who's that? What's his role? What is he supposed to do? He can document it, by the way. He's been doing it forever. John, whoever's around here doing whatever they do, all you'd have to do is say, hey, spend the next couple of days and just turn in a step-by-step thing of what you do on a regular basis. And then they'd all come in and they'd say, well, here's what I do. Number one, you're able to look at it and go, well, wait a minute. That ain't what you're supposed to be doing. Right?
Yeah.
But number two, you put it in a binder.
Mm-hmm.
And then whatever role that person has here, you mark it. And
creating
he brings
systems.
his and you bring yours. And then something happens. Guess what? I can walk in here and buy this business and I know exactly how you guys do what you do and who does what.
Mm-hmm.
Even if y'all quit, I could replicate the business. Now, some people might be better at others, but without that book, it's all in your guys' heads. This business is not as valuable, period.
Right.
And when you're looking to exit, dude, people that come in, they want to know that there are systems and processes and they want them documented. So again, Middle Tennessee, document your systems and processes. And I would say get a training system to where you can now deliver, track, and measure with repetition all of that information that needs to build your team, because the team is what's going to grow and what's going to make you wealthy. You don't build a business, man. You build a team, and the team builds the business.
Yeah. It is, it's a challenge, definitely. That's what I feel like we've been doing for the past 2 years.
Do you have a training system?
I mean, we're writing it down. We're going it over with people. Probably not like documented like you're talking about it. But it's definitely, yeah.
Now, again, if you ask like McDonald's, you think they have a training system?
Oh, totally.
You think any successful business out there has a training system?
This is how we do things.
Are we trying to replicate their success? Are we trying to emulate what they've done, succeed?
Mm-hmm.
Well, then again, there's clues like, get your systems, get your processes. And if you don't have them, dude, it's time to think about them.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to give business podcast.
And I love hearing about the days, everybody has them. Even if you choose, if it's a new thing that you're choosing, how you get up, has that always been like a mantra of yours for your entire life? Or did you just kind of become enlightened?
My morning routine?
Well, morning routine, the gratitude of being able to, having the notion of choosing how to react to something. That's a mature way to look at things.
Well, I learned it over time, and it's getting stronger and more advanced as time goes on.
Right.
And
what were the days like though, where, you got to get up, you got to go to the dealership, but at the same time, everything I'm doing at the dealership is feeding my business. You have the long goal in mind. There had to be those days that you woke up and you were like, I'm flipping tired.
I wasn't really tired. I'm very energetic and always have been.
Yeah.
I wasn't tired. I was like, in other words, sometimes I got tired of it, meaning like I'm frustrated. Why? Because I was making great money at the dealership, but still broke.
Right. Because it's all feeding your business.
I had to go give it to people.
Yeah.
And why would you keep pouring money into something that didn't work and isn't working? Well, again, eventually I realized that. And I'm like, well, why am I if I just went and put the effort into my business like I am this job, it might actually work.
Right.
And so I was treating it like I was an owner. I didn't have to get up. I didn't have to do anything. I didn't treat it like a job. I treated it like I owned it. And a lot of business owners do that. They think because they're the boss, they don't have to do anything. Well, I always say you better treat it like a job or soon you're going to need one. And that's what happened to me. So then I went and busted my ass at work for someone else, building their bank accounts. And then I realized, man, if I worked this hard for myself and quit dicking around, I probably wouldn't need a job. And so after 1 year to the day, quit, went back and said, I'm treating this like a business now, and I'm going to work it like a business.
And treat it like you have a job. This is my job.
Yeah, like I didn't have choices anymore.
Right.
A lot of people, because they own it, they think they get to make decisions.
Yeah.
But in reality, real winners, they decide once. They don't keep making the same decision over and over.
It's the buck stops with you, if you own it.
Well, again, if you want to get a habit formed, start forming the habit of deciding once. Like I don't decide to work out over and over again. I've decided once to work out, and now I work out. I decided once to start treating it like a business, and now I treat it like a business. A lot of people, they don't decide once. They just keep making the same decision. I'm going to get in shape. I think I'm going to get in shape this year.
Yeah. I mean, but now at this point, you can treat it. You are the boss. It's running on its own because of the systems and processes.
It does not run on its own because I was foolish. I'm getting it there now.
Really?
Yeah.
How long ago did it?
I'm like a 25-year-old startup, Jim.
Still.
Yeah. That's why when people come, they're like, will you coach me? Will you mentor me? I'm like, bro, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm still figuring it out. Like, dude, wait till I'm a billionaire.
I love that about you. That's so, there's a humility to that. You're just to being willing, because
it's called truth. It's not humility, because I don't think I have humility. Humility, by definition, is a low opinion of one's importance.
I know you've gone down this rabbit hole before, and I'm going to
look it up.
I know.
Okay, so I don't
have
think
the acknowledgement, and
I don't think I have a low opinion of my importance.
I don't think you do either.
Okay, so I'm not humble. It's not humility. It's truthful. The truth is, I don't know. The truth is, I don't know. Like, how do I fix all my problems?
But I
don't know.
I love your willingness to say that. there's so many gurus out there that they got to come off all the time that like, oh yeah, I got it all under control and this is my life and this is the veneer and all this other stuff.
Yeah, and half of them are cheating on their wives. They're freaking miserable. They're freaking deep down depressed. They're scamming someone. They're not happy. They ain't got shit figured out.
But I think that's the great. Here you are, just like, look, I don't know. It may seem like I do. It certainly looks like I do. I've certainly, everything that's led me up to this particular point in my life have been based on decisions I've made.
That's a fact.
Right. And that a lot of what you're doing and talking about is the fact that even now, that's freeing in a way, because I tell my kids that all the time. I don't know. I said, all I know is that when I ask questions, you taught me that, ask why. And the answer is going to be typically no if you don't ask the question. You're just not going to know. Ask the question. Can I retake the test? Is there a way I can do this? What's the one thing holding you back from letting me try it this way? And they, to my detriment and to my wife and my detriment, they do it on us, which is awesome. But it's still a pain in the ass because they're freaking nags when it becomes that way.
You want me to give you another question?
Sure.
Okay.
Of course.
Here's a question that everyone should ask themselves on a regular basis.
He's writing all this stuff down, by the way, aren't you?
Yeah.
He's a writer.
For what purpose?
That's how he absorbs the information.
I should be charging him. Get on Baller Buster. It's called a scam. I scammed you. Okay. I sold you some great information.
He's going to like next week and be like, okay, Jim, I'm turning in my notice and I'm starting my own thing.
I do that. That all my employees do that. And a lot of time is what happens. But yeah. I say good. That's what I do.
Yeah.
So here's the question that I would ask on a daily basis, every day. And if the answer is no, fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Am I better than I was yesterday? That's it. Yeah. That's all you have to ask yourself. Am I better than I was yesterday? And if the answer is no, then get off your ass and just pick one thing that will make it to where tomorrow you'll say yes. The answer to that should be yes. Am I better than I was yesterday? Yes. Am I better than I was yesterday? Yes. Am I better than I was yesterday? Yes. And if the answer is no, not a problem. Just fix it.
Would you have to know the KPIs that go into that question beforehand?
Well, you should.
What matters?
You should. Yeah. KPIs are very important. Now, again, we're talking to business or life, because in life sometimes.
I think both.
Huh?
Both. I mean, I've been so absorbed with my situation and my station in life is, for the past probably 8-9 years, has been catch up financially, and we're getting there. But I'm basically going through what you went through in your 30s. But now I'm going into my 50s. It is what it is. There's not really so much you could do about that.
I know, but, and it might be that you're also a victim of comparing.
Right.
You compare everything to you.
I think so.
Yeah. You're I'm not where I should be based on what you're doing and what you've done and what he's accomplished. And dude, are you better than you were yesterday?
Yes.
Then who cares where I'm at and what I'm doing?
I appreciate
what are you doing and what are you doing and what are you doing? Like, that's all I care about. Like, I don't care that Grant Cardone has more money than me. Number one, he's 10 years older. Catch me in 10 years if we're in a competition, but we're not. I just ask myself, am I better than I was yesterday? And the answer in a lot of cases has been no.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. Matter of fact, I'm not heading in the right direction. Okay, well, just that question wakes you up, because you have to ask yourself every day, am I better than I was yesterday? No. Why? Well, last night you freaking had Krispy Kreme and financially you just lost this. You got scammed out of $2,000. Your business isn't cranking out what it did yesterday. Like yesterday we did good. Today we aren't doing as well.
Yeah.
Am I better than I was yesterday in all those areas? And the answer 9 times out of 10 could be no in a million areas. But are you better than you were yesterday? And if the answer is no, Jim, you can fix it. And if you don't think you can, dude, that is called a fixed mindset. You need a growth mindset. You need to believe that it is possible. It may not be comfortable. It may not be free. It may not happen overnight, but can you fix it? And the answer is, of course I can. At least that's my answer, which is why I think that's the question. Did I do better than yesterday? Yeah, good. How much better could I have done? Well, I could have done much better, but now we're starting to head down that
that's
for
always
me road.
I've discovered, and I know that about myself. That's one of the things I learned, is that you learn a lot about yourself when you're put to these kinds of tests. I've had a lot of revelation about me in the past several years to myself. And it's one of those things that I look at and I go, once upon a time, it would have been a poor me, feel sorry for me. Not anymore, because I do have days where it's like, yeah, everything just went wrong. But you know what? The one thing that went right is I was able to still come home and, give my wife a hug. That went right. So to your point, what you're kind of saying is that no matter how you look at it, are you better off today than you were yesterday? There's always an area where you were. Does that make sense?
Theoretically.
Against KPIs. Well, hey, for the longest time, because when for a minute there, for probably about 4 years, knocking it out of the park, I should have done this years ago, so on and so forth. Look at this. It's all I had to do was this, and all the rewards are coming, and I'm feeling validated. And I get to the point where, sometimes those challenges come up and you have these seasons of just, a little bit more struggle than what they were, which are the ebbs and flows of life and time. But I looked at those situations as, okay, once upon a time I could hem and haw about it, but now I look at all I have to do. I have control of the energy I put out there and the decisions I'm going to make, who I'm going to talk to. All I need to do is this.
That's right.
And it's actually, since we've made the decision to take podcasting and divert it into our business and feed it and stuff like that, I felt for the longest time like I feel like I'm losing because I'm not, we're just struggling here. And then I realized I'm like, but I've put more on the books in terms of podcasts in the past 2 years than I ever have. And I got to remember, it's just not feeding me right now. And I got to look at that.
How is it not though?
It's just, we're trying to make, payroll to payroll and stuff like that. And that's just a season. We look at it. I don't look at it as permanent.
Who do you have on your podcast?
Who do I have? All sorts of local business owners. We have.
And they don't pay anything? No, you're just gonna introduce them to all those listeners
all the
for free.
Hundreds of people.
You don't have sponsors.
We advertise our businesses on here. I get what you're saying. I just haven't gotten around to putting a rate. I have an idea of taking
around to it.
I know. I do.
Again,
I know,
dude, you're a walking contradiction.
I totally am.
All you have
I'm
to
honest
do
about
is
it.
make a decision, right? This is how you do it.
Yeah.
It may be difficult for you, but this is the truth. You make a decision. Hey, I'm making money with this podcast from now on. Now, it might be just you on it for a while. Why? Because no one will pay to be on it.
Right.
Well, I would find that highly unlikely. They just probably won't pay much.
Right.
But literally, bro, there's people on this podcast, and you've got an audience. Even if it's a small audience or a big audience, obviously will determine the value of being on.
Right.
But all you have to do from now on is say, hey, podcasting's the new billboard, right? This will be listened to for years to come by new people. So this is a billboard that will constantly run. Now, if I will allow you to get on my podcast and talk about your business and all my listeners discover your business and do business with your business, is that worth nothing? Yes or no?
Oh, it's worth something for sure.
Okay, how much?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Yeah.
Well, in my case, like people sponsor dropping bombs for $25,000.
Yeah.
And most people don't know who sponsored and who didn't. Why? Well, because I'll make the conversation good anyway.
Right.
So at the end of the day, I literally am building a studio here and investing all the money because I turn down sponsors. I can do 4 a week without even trying. That's $100,000 a week for a podcast, 1 hour. That's 4 hours for $100,000. You could do the same thing. And if you're like, no, mine's not as big as yours.
Mindset.
Again, it is your mindset. And then don't charge $25,000. Charge $2,500. And if you're like, well, who's going to pay that? See, you don't even value it.
No.
Like, dude, this is advertising.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think anyone's going to hear me? I guarantee you people will hear me on this podcast. Now, if there's 0 listeners, well, then you're a scammer. But that's not the case. You have listeners. And if you've never tried to test it, test it.
We're pushing up to episode 250 at this point. So,
well, dude, I guarantee you probably have listeners.
Oh, I know, I do.
And those listeners are business owners. And those business owners are freaking consumers. And the people that are on listening to the podcast have businesses that they want to advertise, but you're not asking for it. Tell them it's $500 to sponsor the show. $500 to have a show that's out there repeating itself over and over. You'll be getting listeners in 2 years that we don't even know about yet. You'll constantly be getting leads to drive your business. $500. They say, okay, boom. Now they come out, you have a guest, and you got $500. Now the question is, how many of those can you sell? Yeah. Well, dude, how many are you offering right now? None. Well, how many do you think you're going to sell when it's none? So that's an example.
I figured when people are clamoring and I'm getting hit up like multiple times a week, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, someday.
Yeah. And like, you all of a sudden you got that inbound stream.
Yeah, that makes it easy.
It does make it easy because I do get the people that hit me up.
Let's not reach out. Let's just wait for it to come to us. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sit here and do nothing.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Hopefully they're going to barge in the door one day and offer me money, and I'm just going to go,
that's not what I'm saying.
No, dude, you have to build it. You have to say, I'm not doing this shit for nothing. Yeah. Okay. You already did it for nothing. $250. Okay. You put the time in, you put the money in, you've already produced them and paid everybody and editing. Dude, it's a business. You have to now monetize it.
Right.
I'd start right now. Hey, whoever's listening to this, let's prove Mr. McCarthy incorrect. Okay, prove me correct.
I'm not putting anything out there that is incorrect.
I'll put it out there. Listen, whoever's listening to my voice right now, if you have a business and you want to drive a little revenue to that business, get on a podcast, talk about your business, and I'll bet you anything you get business from it. Now, just as a test, because we don't want to go too crazy.
No.
If someone's listening to this and they're willing to give Big Jim McCarthy, and by the way, I'm sure you'll still have to vet them.
Yeah.
Okay. And by the way, let's say he vets you and he doesn't want you. Well, then just offer him more. Because eventually he's going to say, deal. But that's the sponsorship. You sponsor the show, and then you can be a guest on the show, and then you can access all his listeners. And then all you have to do is talk about who you are and what you do. And I'll bet you get more than you sponsored the show for, because it's never going to end unless, of course, you're a scam. And then he'll delete the episode. But for the most part, all your episodes you've ever dropped are still out there, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I'll bet you if you go look, they're all getting downloads. Are they not?
They are.
Because I noticed that one time when I looked at mine. It was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Someone just listened to episode 1? Well, yeah, because they listened to episode 871, and then they're like, I like this guy. I'm going to go listen to them all. And so now episode 1, you were talking about Joe Blow with his circus.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and all of a sudden the guy's like, oh shit, I didn't know about a circus. And they go to the guy's circus. I get people all the time going, dude, can I get back on your show? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, it's funny that you should ask, but why? Because dude, I still get business from your show. And I'm like, sure, absolutely. Let me have you talk with Anthony. He's the one that books the show. And then Anthony will get you on the phone and say, well, you can wait for 22 months, which is the invite list length. Or you can sponsor an episode and I can get you into booking immediately. And people are like, well, how does that work? That's $25,000 plus he's going to do this, that, and the other thing. You get the footage coming and going. It's a wonderful opportunity if you're trying to build the business, man. And then he closes them and they write checks for $25,000.
Get them scheduled.
I put them right to booking. Right. Why? Because, dude, I have 100 people that want invited. And I always say, look, are you famous? Did you do something like that the world needs to hear, in my opinion? Because I will invite you.
Because you don't want to become an infomercial. That's the last thing I want to do.
No, I have 2 ways to get on my show.
Yeah.
Invite or sponsor. Mm-hmm. So every guest is either invited or they're sponsored. Now, again, go listen to a bunch and tell me which one's which. But all I know is the show will do probably 6 million this year.
That's crazy for a podcast. Good for you.
Well, they had just asked me to keynote this big podcast summit in Atlanta.
Really?
Because the guy that was out there said something about monetizing. And he said, you do sponsorships? Or are you selling mid-roll and ad roll? I'm like, I don't really do sponsorships that way. I'm not talking about boner pills or, lotion or something. But, I do let people sponsor the show because they want to be a guest on it.
Yeah.
And he goes, you're doing that much? I'm like, yeah. He goes, dude, you got to come speak at my event, because they're all podcasters and they're wondering how to monetize their podcast. Yeah. They're real podcasts. This is a real podcast. You do it day in, day out. This is a real podcast. There are real listeners. That's called advertising. You're not asking anybody to pay.
That's true. I'm not.
You're inviting everybody and their dog for free.
Building the foundation.
That's why,
Building the foundation. And a lot of them, like
the foundation is 100 shows.
I could see that.
Yeah. You're way past the foundation. Now you need to start billing. And again, dude, they don't have to do it. Are you offended to ask people for money?
No.
Are you embarrassed?
No,
are you getting freaking Jason Aldean on here?
I can ask him.
Okay. But again, if Jason Aldean comes on, bro, don't charge him.
Right.
Okay. But when Larry Tucker from, the florist over there in Franklin wants on, and he's a great guest.
Yeah.
He's got killer stories. So what, dude? He's going to make money from you, from the episode. Charge him. Tell him to sponsor the show. You'll start to see who your real friends are. But at the end of the day, man, it's just an observation with you. If I were you, I would shift my perspective about this show and start monetizing it. You've been doing it long enough.
Oh yeah.
You're damn near 50.
Thanks for reminding me. It's for me. It's getting.
Are you charging people to sit here and listen to guests? You could have said, "Dude, Brad Lee's coming. You want to pay $100 to sit in the corner and take notes?" At least you would have got paid from him.
Yeah. Well, he works for us. I'd rather him.
Do you pay him?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're paying him to sit here and be educated by all your entrepreneurial skills.
Yeah.
I'll bet you could find a volunteer for that. And besides that, the tripod's been doing all the work. He's been sitting there.
For me, it's tough to see, and I'm not making excuses, but I can tell you what I know about myself is I'm inside my own bottle when it comes to that.
Yes.
And it's tough to see the label. So thank you for reading my label. I will certainly make those adjustments.
You should.
Yeah.
And again, going back to, did I outdo myself yesterday? In other words, am I better than I was yesterday? Hopefully my visit will be enough to make you realize, dude, I'm just not asking for it.
Right.
You got to ask for it.
Yeah, something is something.
You got to value yourself. You have to value what you've built. You don't value it, so who else is going to? Nobody. And if you do value it, well, then ask for frickin' sponsors.
I used to get really annoyed when, and that still happens, people hit me up to be on probably once or twice a week. But they're typically like, hey, my guest, they're like guest booking agencies. They can talk about this for their audience and they have this kind of value. And I was great. Where in Middle Tennessee are they? Oh, they're in Spokane, Washington. Oh, okay. I used to get exactly. I used to get very put off by that, but I have made that adjustment. I'd love to have them on a frickin' Zoom. And if they're in person, even better. It's probably even better if they were to
Here's
spend
what
money.
I would say.
I turn it around and I do ask them, for $500, they can totally come on. We'll give them 10 clips. The whole
You've
9
said
yards.
that?
Oh yeah.
And what do they say?
Yeah, you don't hear back from them because they don't want to pay for it. They're looking, somebody's paying them to get some, they're looking for the freebies.
You're not, either that or you're just not serving it up correctly.
Maybe not.
Or maybe their target's not Middle Tennessee.
Well, it is when it's free.
If I don't know, the mostly Middle Tennessee podcast.
Their target
mostly the whole United States podcast in the world, by the way.
Right. That's why I put that in there.
But again, Jim, just ask yourself every day, and any listeners, ask yourself, am I better today than I was yesterday? And if the answer is no, just fix it. And it's whatever you want it to be. Money, emotionally, relationally, financially, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, did you work out today?
No. I'm way off my game on that.
Same thing.
And I'm real about it.
I know, but it's the same thing with money, with relationship. Did you send your wife a text telling her you miss her?
I had coffee with my wife.
Okay, so boom,
That's
you're
what
better.
we do.
Then you're better than you were yesterday.
That's
You
right.
built a little relationship, and all you do is map out where you want to go. And I'm just using you because you're sitting here. This
That's
is
fine.
it. This is anybody, me, you, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Map out where you want to go. When people say, "Well, fitness isn't my thing," okay, dude, you don't have to work out every day. I went plenty of times without doing it. But when you start to say, you know what would my ideal life look like? You know what? I'd be in better shape. I'd have more money. I'd be closer with my family. I'd be closer with my kids. I'd be a better dad. I'd be a better husband. I'd do all those things. Okay, just write those down. And then those are your categories that you self-proclaim want to move in that direction every day. Just ask yourself, am I a better dad? No. Dude, day's not over. You go, hey, let me go grab my kids. See what I'm saying? Like it just spurs you to, it's a simple question that nobody asks. I mean, it just spurs you to like think and act on it, because am I better than I was yesterday as a dad? No. Here, let me text my kid and let me take him for ice cream. Let me go spend 30 minutes before he goes to bed.
Yeah.
Am I a better husband? No, not necessarily. I haven't done anything. Let me go get my wife some flowers and just tell her I love her. It's 9:00 at night. She's right over there. Takes a second. And then boom, and then boom, and then boom. And then next thing you know, dude, you're going to progress in all those categories because you asked yourself one question. Am I better than I was yesterday? And if fitness is one, did I work out today? No. Well, then before I go to bed, let me just do some push-ups or walk around the block right before I go to bed. And then the answer is yes, I did. Okay, good. You're better than you were yesterday. And then better you were. Next thing you know, dude, people are like, bro, you're looking good. What you doing? I'm just getting a little bit better every day, dog. That's all I'm doing.
I make better food decisions these days. I got that going for me.
Good.
I had myself some cottage cheese and honey and almonds this morning.
Oh, good.
Breakfast of champions.
You know what's worked for me unbelievably better than anything I've ever done before? Intermittent fasting.
Yeah. What's your schedule?
I eat from 2 to 8.
2 to 8, 6 hours a day. You have yet to eat.
I haven't eaten anything.
You hungry?
No.
Okay.
Dude, I live this way.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, I've eaten fat. I've eaten body fat. That's what I always tell people. What do you have for breakfast? I eat body fat for breakfast. But I mean, dude, it's crazy because I've went on stupid diets and stupid programs and stupid shit. And like it works, but it's not sustainable. It's not realistic. I'm going to carry around my freaking food and weigh it out. And dude, I just don't want that lifestyle. Like I've already made the decision. Dude, that ain't me. I don't like that. I don't want that. And if I have to be fat, I will be.
What are your workouts like? You there every morning, every day?
Well, 6 days a week.
Yeah.
I just pick a body part and lift heavy things, you know. I exercise. It's no big deal. Like if I can't hit a gym, which a lot of times you can't, well then dude, I'll just do some push-ups. Yeah. And if it's shoulder day, you know, you can grab a towel literally and move your shoulders. Just move. What do they call that?
Calisthenics.
Kinesthenics. Just body weight, stuff. The question is did you exercise? And the answer is always going to be, for me, yes. Why? Because I want to get better. And it's just a daily decision to take action. And the question that triggers it for me every day, financially, emotionally, spiritually, relationally, physically, am I better today than I was yesterday? And the answer a lot of times is going to be, no. Then get up and fix it. And then boom, dude, you literally find yourself progressing every single day because of that one little ass question. And no, I don't say it first thing in the morning. I say it like mid-afternoon. First time I go, am I better today? And a lot of times, guess what the answer is? Hell yes. Good, keep going. But I also ask it when I get home. Yeah. Because I want to be a better dad. I want to, be a better husband. I want to just be better in a lot of areas. So I just run through them in my head. And a lot of times I've caught myself saying, you know what? Let me do a little exercise. You know what? Let me go take my vitamins or whatever. It's just a nice hack. It's a good question.
Yeah. I like that. I got to say, I'm going to honor your time and kind of wrap things up. Cut it short. And
your listeners are going to freaking be pissed. We're just getting good.
We got it. Well, we can keep going if you want.
I'm joking.
Hey, honored to call you a friend.
Thank you, sir.
And of course, guys, all the details that we talked about, any sort of the links to lightspeedvt.com, bradlea.com, all those things.
Sure.
They're out there. Make sure if you haven't followed them yet to follow those links and make sure to follow them. And of course, if you go to mmtbp.com, we got a link there if you want to be on the show with consideration. We're going to start looking into that as well. So make sure you check that all out, mmtbp.com. Mr. Brad Lea, thanks again. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you.